Hi, I'm Dr. Sylvia Peregrino, and this is Entre Nosotras, Latina Voices. Today, my guest is Ms. Luz de los Reyes, who works with diversity programs. And so we're going to talk about Women's History Month. Welcome, Ms. Luz.
Thank you, Dr. Peregrino. Thank you for having me here. Like you said, we're going to be talking about Women's History Month in a couple of weeks. March is going to be here. It's just around the corner, so it's our month for Women's History Month.
Ms. Luz, tell us, how did you first start working with diversity programs?
I started working with the college. I'm going to be working with the college 9 years now. I started as a work study when I graduated from Bowie High School back in 2014. I started my associates here at epcc. I was a work study, and then I got a part-time position in at the testing services, for student services. And then from there, I got another position, part-time also, with physical plant. So I was the administrative assistant there. And then from there, I got the opportunity to get a full-time job with the diversity and inclusion programs. And that was during the pandemic. I remember doing my job interview virtually via Microsoft Teams. And I never thought that I was going to get the position, and I got it. Thank God. And now I'm here with diversity and inclusion programs as the administrative associate.
Well, that's great because you guys do wonderful work, like all the inclusion programs that we have here at the college.
Thank you.
And so tell us a little bit about what you guys have in store for this Women's History Month coming up.
So we have a lot since also we've been super busy since February. It's Black History Month. March is Women's History Month. So behind the scenes from Black History, we've been working so hard with our committee members for Women's History Month. We're gonna be having the Diamond Awards in person, which we haven't had a Diamond Award since the pandemic. The last one was in 2020. Right before the pandemic, there was the Diamond Award event in person. And then from there, pandemic hit, and then we went home. We never came back from spring break. And we didn't have the Diamond Awards during the pandemic because the committee thought that it wasn't the same awarding our women virtually. You know, it's not the same sensation as being in person, walking up the stage, receiving the award. So we postponed the Diamond Awards until now that we went back 100% to the college. March is coming. So we thought, okay, now we can start with the Diamond Awards. So besides the Diamond Awards, we're also going to be having virtual presentations every Wednesday during March, which the first one will be March 1st. It's going to be virtually via Microsoft Teams, and it's going to be presented by Leslie Ochoa. She's works here for the college too, and she's a great artist. She has shared with us some of her paintings, which they're wonderful. We're going to be having some of her art display at Valle Verde campus. We have our window display there for diversity at the B building. So whenever you get a chance, stop by so you could check out her great art. And she's going to be presenting The Art of the Heart, A Journey Back to Self. And that's going to be March 1st at noon, from noon to 1:30 p.m. Everyone could join us. They could either register on our website or the day of the event, just click on the link. And then after that week, that's when we're going to be having the Diamond Awards event. That's going to be March 8th. And the committee chose that date because it's Women's International Day. So we thought, what a great day to have the Diamond Awards back again after 3 years that it was postponed. That day on Women's International Day. So we're going to be honoring 12 honorees this year. And we're going to be having Ms. Josette Shaughnessy as our keynote speaker for this year also. And we're going to be having some entertainment. We want to give it all to honor our epcc female employees that they deserve it. They've been working for the college, giving their best. So We're going to be honoring them on March 8th. And then after that, we're going to be having spring break. But coming back, we're going to have our third virtual presentation, which is going to be presented by Chef Judy Hernandez. She's a pastry chef from the continuing education. She will be presenting some sweet creativity or pastry decoration, and that will be March 22nd, again via Teams from noon to 1:30. And the last one that we're going to be offering to everyone, it's going to be self-defense for women, which I think it's very important to have this type of training. All women and anyone could self-defense, and that's going to be presented by Sergeant Danica Pedregon, and she's a training coordinator with El Paso ISD Police. So she's going to be doing the presentation for us on that will be March 29th, again from noon to 1:30, Microsoft Teams.
And like you mentioned, a lot of these presentations are virtual except for the Diamond Awards. Can anybody join, even members of the community?
Yes, well, for the virtual presentations, anyone could join. Either they could register on our website, which is epcc.edu/services/diversity, or like I said, the day of the event, they could click on the link. And for the Diamond Award, there's an RSVP link that it's also, people could find that on our website, and so people could register there. So for the Diamond event, where seating is limited, so we're asking people to register.
But that one is also open to the public, or more for EPCC employees and staff?
Well, we're going to be honoring our female employees here at EPCC for the Diamond Awards, and anyone is welcome to join us, to join them at the moment of receiving their award. So anyone could register, their family, friends, community, students, anyone could join us for our event also.
Well, that's great that it's coming back in person and that we're getting back to the new normal.
Yes, exactly.
And why do you think the committee picked this theme about telling stories?
Yes, so the committee always goes with the national theme, which is also a theme that we use for every month, for Black History, for Hispanic Heritage, and for Women's History Month. And for this year, the national theme is celebrating women who tell their stories. Like I mentioned, Ms. Josette Shaughnessy, she will be our keynote speaker during the Diamond Awards, and she will be telling us part of her journey, her story, as she became the Vice President of Financial and Administrative Operations.
So that'd be great to get to know people on a more personal level.
Right, and also for our virtual presentations, like Leslie Ochoa, she will also be sharing her story. Chef Judy Hernandez, Sergeant Danica Pedregon, anyone could be telling their stories. But since they're going to be our presenters, they're going to be telling their stories, honoring the national theme this year.
And I think that's good because our students and our audience will get to hear about people in different careers in law enforcement, in finance, in
culinary
arts. And so at least they'll get to see how women have been able to get into all these different fields.
Right. All women have a story to tell.
Yes, and I think as I was thinking of coming to talk to you this morning about Women's History Month, I also thought how even though there's some positive things, like women now get degrees at a higher rate than men, women participate more in elections. There's also, still women make less than what men make financially. One of the issues that I guess I thought that's different from last year is that women here in Texas no longer have reproductive rights. There was this decision last summer called the Dobbs decision, and that gave abortion decisions back to the states. And so a lot of states in the South, including Texas, went with no reproductive rights for women. And so I think to me that's different because before that we had women had reproductive rights under Roe versus Wade, which is a case in 1973. but the Supreme Court just got rid of it. Like, I'm concerned about women in Texas, the fact that they don't have these decisions. And so I was curious if maybe the committee thought about doing anything along those lines, or maybe they thought it was a little controversial.
It is a great topic. It could also be a controversial topic. Like I said, anyone is welcome to join us to tell their stories. That would be a good idea, having someone talk about that, to teach us, to show us, to inform us about that subject also.
I'm also on the mailing list for UTEP, and similarly for their March 8th presentation, I think they're doing a panel on reproductive rights.
Yes.
And I think in the evening they're showing a documentary called No Más Bebés, which is how the government used to actually sterilize some women. So women in Puerto Rico, without their consent, they were given papers to sign, and it was to limit them to one pregnancy or to sterilize them. And same thing in Los Angeles with Mexican American women. So I think that'd be an interesting documentary as well. If you're interested in seeing it, it's at UTEP at the Union, I believe at 6:00.
Definitely, it is a great topic to be informed about.
Yes, and I know here in Texas, we're number one in uninsured people, and so now in Texas, we had almost 200 women who died after pregnancy or during pregnancy because of the lack of health care.
That's sad.
And so I worry about the future. I think there was this maternal mortality report that came out, but that was only looking at figures from 2019. So I think now, as this abortion ban is here in the state, I think those numbers are probably going to go up.
Wow, no, and I think that every woman have the right to decide with their body,
Well, not in Texas though, and not in many
Texas.
states in the South, but we'll have to go to New Mexico because here in Texas, the doctor might be worried about going to jail, and so there's been women that they have to wait till they're in sepsis, till they're about to die, and then for them to do a necessary medical procedure because they're because of the state's abortion ban. But I'm hoping that this year the legislature's meeting, and so they do have emergency Medicaid that they were giving to pregnant women for 6 months, and so perhaps they'll extend that for low-income women, because if the state is not giving them a choice, I think the state should try to help them out and provide health care assistance.
Right. No, thank you, Dr. Peregrino, for sharing that information with me and also with the audience. And like you said, it is a good topic to cover, and thank you for the invitation at UTEP March 8th. Right.
Yes, and we'll share that calendar as well. And so, it just reminded me that I've seen that documentary before. That's why I'm familiar with what it shows, and I think it's very relevant now. And I think as women, we should celebrate all the positive things, like the fact that women have the right to vote. We unfortunately we didn't really get to celebrate that. It was still the pandemic. So in 2020 it was 100 years, but we didn't really get to celebrate as much because we were still during COVID. But now women turn out to vote more, but we're still not equally represented in the Texas legislature and in Congress. So the legislature is still mostly old white males, and doesn't look like the rest of Texas, right? So there's not enough women to represent us or to hear our voices in those issues.
But we're getting there.
We're getting there,
Yes.
and so hopefully I think you guys have put together a great panel, and I think in the future, I'm hoping that women also reach parity when it comes to gaining financially. So women, even though we get more degrees, sometimes they stop out of the labor force, or perhaps because of the types of jobs that women get, they still make less money than men.
Yes, and like I said, we're getting there. Strong together, we're stronger. So we're getting there, Dr. Peregrino.
And I hope that that I think the panelists that you guys have put together, or even the awardees, are going to inspire the next generation of women, because I think if they see women in high leadership positions or in different industries, they're more likely to be inspired to go into those areas.
Yes, for the Diamond Awards, which we're going to be celebrating our epcc female employers. It's going to be at the ASC auditorium. The purpose is to recognize and acknowledge our female workers with their great contribution, with everything, their hard work, everything they do to keep the college going. This year, the selection process was made by the committee, and it was based on different criteria, and then we chose 2 per campus. So we have 6 campuses, the Northwest, Trans Mountain, Rio Grande, Valle Verde, ASC, and Misión del Paso. So we chose 2 per campus. That's why we have the 12 honorees this year. But next year, it's going to be a different process in the selection. People will get to nominate someone, a woman who they think that have done a great work, hardworking, and had done something impactful here at the college and also as the community. So people will have the opportunity to nominate. So next year we're gonna be sending out that message of nominating someone for the Diamond Awards. We're gonna be receiving those nominations, and we're gonna go from there to the selection process for the Diamond Awards.
Well, I'm excited to attend and to see, who gets recognized, because I think, like you mentioned, there's a lot of stories that women can share, and I know at my campus there's a counselor there who retired and then came back, but she's been with the college first as a student and then as a counselor. So I'm hoping she's one of the people recognized. But I don't know who you're awarding. So I guess we have to wait till we get there.
The day of the event, and you're welcome to join us, Dr. Peregrino, to the Diamond Awards and any virtual presentation that we're gonna have every Wednesday during March. And so that will be great to have you as our guest.
No, I'm excited, and I'll mention it to my students if they want to participate, because I think it's always good to hear. And I know that I saw on the website that the Association of Women in Community Colleges is also doing a scholarship for women, and so I would
That
encourage
is great.
the students to also apply to that. And there's one for Black History Month as well.
Yes, like I said, I always encourage students to fill out the application. Like for Black History, it's a short essay with their application, and the college always offers scholarship opportunities to our students.
And this way, it's a way for the students to kind of tie in together, some of these diversity initiatives. I know what I wanted to also discuss is that maybe this year, or at least through the pandemic, a lot of women had to give up their jobs because if they had small children at school and the schools went virtual.
Yes.
I don't know if you know or have. I know that some of my students told me that was the case.
And I've heard stories also that women had to leave their job because they had priorities to stay home with their children. So yes, we've heard it a lot about that.
And I think that that also shows how maybe here in government that we could prioritize certain things. So for example, I think that our government could help. We're one of the few countries that doesn't have paid maternity leave. And, every other Western democracy does, but for us, you can just take your sick leave or you can get paid. Well, you can't get anything paid unless you have some sort of extra program,
Right.
but it's unpaid, and so you won't lose your job, but you can only take a few weeks off. There's a woman that I look up to. Her name is Irma Rangel. I don't know if you ever heard about her. Irma Rangel was the first Mexican American female legislator in the late 70s, and she was from Kingsville, Texas. And so to me, like, the more things change, the more things stay the same, because when she was a legislator, she pushed for Texas to have abortions in the cases of rape or incest. And so that was back in the 70s, and now those battles that were fought and won, the legislature needs to do that again if they want to. And again, the legislature is mostly male, and so maybe they're never going to get pregnant because they're men, right? But even in cases of rape or incest, there's no exceptions right now. And so maybe in this legislature, maybe some of the female representatives or some of the male representatives who know of stories from their constituents might include those exceptions. But I don't even think that the governor would sign it into law. And so, so I think in a way women are doing better, but we went back 50 years when it comes to reproductive rights.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Dr. Peregrino, for sharing that information with me and with the audience too. It is very good information to know.
As I was thinking about this, I also wanted to share. I had a friend that I had lunch with. She's a friend from high school, and her niece had a miscarriage. And the police went to her house to investigate what supplements she was taking, and she had gone to the hospital, so it wasn't that she was hiding anything, but and this was before the Dobbs decision, when Texas had the 6-week abortion ban, but now we're at no abortions, at all, right? And so perhaps with the life of the mother, but then it's up to the doctor to kind of decide that. So to me, that was very intrusive. And my friend told me that she wouldn't have believed it if she hadn't witnessed it herself.
Oh, wow.
So
That
scary
is so sad.
times.
Yes, so it's something super scary and impactful, and a miscarriage is something very traumatic.
Yes, and then imagine having to explain it to the police that it wasn't anything that you did, and so that shocked me when she told me that story.
Yes, because at that moment it's something extremely hard, and then plus people having to interrogate her. What was she taking? It's just sad.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that that we don't have that happen to anybody in the future. I know that I should contact my legislator about that. And so let's not end on a negative note. Let's celebrate the accomplishments of women.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Luz de los Reyes, for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Peregrino, for having me here.
And thank you for extending the invitation to all these great Women's History Month events.
Yes, anyone is welcome to join us.
Thank you. Our guest has been Luz de los Reyes with Entre Nosotras, Latina Voices. Remember to catch our shows here on Channel 13.2 or on epcc.edu YouTube.